high school. It's just, it's like almost over and we're almost in college. What is up, Netflix fans, and welcome back to my channel. Do not let the intro detract you if you enjoyed this movie, because I have some very interesting things to say about this movie that I did not expect going in, because this is The Last Summer, and it's a movie that I expected to be really bad because it's another teen romantic comedy-esque movie on Netflix. But how did I actually feel? I need you guys to get down in the comments section. If you have watched this movie, let me know how you felt. And if you haven't, are you excited for it? Let's talk about The Last Summer. So, standing on the precipice of adulthood, a group of friends navigate new relationships while re-examining others during their final summer before college. Yeah, just the premise itself, I thought I knew what I was in for with this film. There are relationships and characters and dynamics and cliches and conventions in this movie that have been in every high school teen rom-com. It's not necessarily a rom-com because there are more dramatic elements in this film, but it does tend to veer down that route. And this is a movie with 3 or 4 different stories being told at the same time, and while you expect them all to come together, they don't necessarily play out as you anticipate, and that's the excitement of a movie like this. Look, this is not a movie intended for my audience, because even though I look like I'm in high school because I had to shave my beard for my job, I'm not in high school. I'm 23 years old, I have a wife, I have a full-time job, and I have this thing that I do on the side. Listen, this is not a movie that I was supposed to enjoy, and while I did not love it, and I did not really enjoy it, it did surprise me a bit. There are good elements in this movie. It is not just, I don't want to say your average, because it does tend to go down the average route, but there are things in here that make you look at it from the point of view from someone who does not like this genre or this type of movie, that you can look at and go, you know what? It's not the worst thing ever. Let's start with the technical elements. This movie is very colorful. It looks good. I like the color palette. I even did not hate the camera movements and the way that it looks in general. It is well executed, I will say that. And while there were some performances in here that I didn't love, and they do go down the path that you expect them to go down, there were also some performances in here that were pretty darn good. I thought Griffin and Phoebe, their characters, they were charming, they were likable, you buy their chemistry, and that story, out of all of the stories, was the most interesting to me just because of where it ends up at the end. Like I said, you expect pretty much everything in this movie, but you don't expect certain things to happen with the characters and certain fallouts with all of the stories, not just this one, to be resolved and maybe unresolved. And because of that, there are things in here that I think this target audience, the movie, knows exactly who it's intended for, and that's always something that I can say as a positive to a film like this. I think they're going to get a lot out of it, or at least a lot more than even they anticipated, because if you are a fan of a movie like this, you can't sit back and tell me, well, this movie is going to change the game, because we have never seen anything like it. Absolutely not. But it did not fail on the level that I expected it to fail. And I will say, after the first 20 minutes, I was not really digging the story or the characters. It felt off-putting, giving me all of these storylines at once. And while even by the end of the film, I still did not buy 2 of the stories, wasn't the biggest fan of where they ended up or even where they headed. And there were certain cast members that did not give the best performances, but the other stories I enjoyed, I had fun with, and I was with the characters more than I expected to be with the characters, and that's the goal of this movie. You have to be invested in the relationships, and by the fact that it is The Last Summer. Oh, he's just salty that these high school kids are just cooler than he is. These are not high school kids. A lot of these actors are in their lower 20s, especially Maya Mitchell, who is actually older than I am, and like I said, I'm 23 years old, but that's what you get with a movie like this. You have older people that play high schoolers, and especially what they do in this movie. It is on Netflix, so there's a lot of drinking and sexual things, and it is for the audience that is watching Netflix to get more than they would get on television. So I will say that, but just a personal thing, I like when they cast kids that are actual high school kids, because all of these guys, not necessarily some of the girls looked a bit younger, but these guys, man, they just looked like there was no way that they were in high school. Now, I did know a few people like that in high school. I'm like, this guy didn't just drive himself to school today. He drove an entire bus full of kids. There were people like that, and there are people like that, and that's fine. Clearly, that wasn't me because I look like I'm still in high school. I accept that, but this is just a movie intended for certain audiences, and because it does what it said it was going to do in the summary and the premise without completely botching all of the storylines, which is what I was afraid it was going to do, and it does make the classic teen rom-com mistakes. They are in there. Now, they are fewer and farther in between than I expected them to be, but if you look really hard, you'll find them every other scene. But you know what? The last summer, the best compliment I can give is that it was not horrible, and I do think the people going into this movie wanting to like it, you're going to like it, you're going to enjoy it, you're going to come to this channel and look for a great, wonderful review, and you're not going to get that, but you are going to get someone who was kind of surprised by this film. It's not the worst thing I've seen all year, and because of all those things, I'm going to go 53% for The Last Summer. It is a film that I think appeals to the target audience, and once again, that's the best thing you can do in this genre. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. As always, doing new Netflix reviews every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Just reviewed the brand new Zac Efron film, Extremely Wicked, Shockingly Evil, and Vile. That is on the channel right now. And then later on today, one theatrical movie review. Whether that is Uglydolls or The Intruder, I don't know, but there's a lot of stuff coming on this channel this weekend. Thank you so much for watching this video. And once again, I'll see you later on today.